Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Gamers Edition channel. How are you guys doing? And in today's video, I am going to show you how to properly cable manage your setup to keep it clean and fresh. Now on the surface, mine doesn't look too bad. You can see that I've got a few cables and it doesn't look that bad. However, if you look at the PC, we can see a little bit of a jungle here. And if I remove the chair, we can see that under here, we have a very much terrible case of bad cable management, and it's also very dirty. So finally, I'm going to be addressing all this and showing you at home how you can do it as well to keep your setup nice and fresh. Now for this video, and to make sure we do this properly, we are going to need a couple of things. The first thing are some zip ties. Usually everyone has these around the house, and these are very inexpensive. You can go on Amazon and buy these for a pack of 100. They're really inexpensive. However, I recommend that you use something else, and that would be a set of cable ties. I recently just bought these, and these are amazing. They are basically reusable zip ties. You can basically just put them on and take them off if you need to, and readjust them however much you want. Here's an example of one of them. You can just bundle them up and they will stay together. They will not pull off, and as long as the Velcro is fine, so you keep them clean, they should be good. Now we'll just need these two things. However, as a backup plan, we have some duct tape if things go really bad and you find some problems that you don't expect, and some scissors to cut the zip ties, and maybe the duct tape if you need to. Cable ties actually don't need to be cut. However, if you want to just clean up the edges a little bit, like these little frayed ends, then you can use some scissors to clean it up. But that's all we need, and without further ado, let's get right into it. For the first step, we want to remove everything. So take apart all the cables, all of the peripherals, USB ports, all that stuff. Maybe even remove the monitor if it's not too hard. This makes it a lot easier for the next steps. Alright, so this is how the setup is looking right now. We have the keyboard and mouse still here, and we've removed the monitor. And this is what it looks like now. I've just put all the stuff on my bed so that it's neatly laid out so I know where everything is. And one thing I've had to do, because my desk is right up against the wall, I've had to move it away so that I could reach all the cables. And look at this. There is so much dust and dirt. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera. There's a lot of dirt around here, and it's not good. So it's definitely good with doing this. And the PC is definitely very dusty. Just look at those slots there. You just rub it off with your finger. It's not good. And you may be wondering, why not just manage the cables how they were already? And the thing I say to that is, I did not realize how dusty this was, and maybe you don't either. We only just found out now, after moving apart and taking away everything, that this is very dirty and it needs a clean. Taking out everything, it makes it a lot easier to put everything back and neatly organize it that way, as opposed to sorting out a mess. Sometimes starting from scratch is a lot easier than just carrying on. So with that, we will move on to the next step, which is cleaning. That is done, it may also be a good idea to just go through your desk and other small parts of your setup with a wipe and just get rid of all the dirt that you may have missed with the vacuum. As you can see with the wipes, we do pick up a little bit of dirt. Now thankfully I do try and keep my room as clean as possible, but the one place I ironically neglect is my setup. So this is definitely a good thing to do. And now we can move on to actually managing the cables. Now I know it may seem like a very intimidating task to do all of these cables neatly, but trust me, it is very easy, and I'll break it down into steps so that you can do it as well. But the main way to do this, and the main thing to keep in mind, is that you want to group all the different cables with the kind of group that they're supposed to be assigned with. For example, keyboard, mouse, and then we have our headset and a microphone if you have one. So all these cables are going to be grouped up into one cable tie or one zip tie. And then the same thing for the monitor and other things as well. So to start things off simple, we'll use our keyboard and mouse as an example. So we'll just take out the cables for each of these, and we'll take our mouse USB and just plug it into one of the top USB slots, and do the same for the keyboard. And as you can see, we still have a lot of cable left. So what I like to do is I like to kind of neatly loop them together like this without tangling them, and then I will get one of my cable ties and put them on just like so. That is our neat little braided cables. However, we can't just have them lying around like this, because then it's no different. So one thing that we can do is we can neatly tuck it away somewhere, or another thing you can use is either a zip tie or also another cable tie to kind of tie it down to a point, maybe this little side of the PC, or a little hook that you have near your desk. You can do it however you like. And just like that, we have no cable mess. And the best thing to do is to also test out what it's like to use the mouse and keyboard, especially with a wired mouse. You want to be able to move it around a bit comfortably. You see that nothing happens, shake it around a bit, move it, and then we check again. and we can see it is perfectly fine there, so that is good. I'll do another example for you guys, and this time I will use my microphone. Now, I like to have my microphone plugged in at the front USB header. I just find it a lot more convenient. Now, because I don't have an arm stand, I like to use the stand and wedge it in between this little drawer over here. And when I'm gaming or talking with friends, it's kind of nice. But the biggest problem is that this cable is very long and it gets caught on my chair a lot. But there is a little trick we can do and make it look a ton neater. Now, if I take all of the cable and then slack it round near to where the USB port is, I can get a cable tie and just neatly wrap it round, just like a little bow tie here. And we can put the cable back here, manipulate it a little bit, keep it right where the screw is. And just like that, it's a lot neater already. And the best thing about cable ties is that they are adjustable. You can always take these out, add more peripherals and cables, like for example headphones or webcam to these USB ports here. So after messing around with it for a little bit, we can see that the cable is still nice and tight, and we can barely see those cables here. So for example, if my monitor was here, which it's still not hooked up to, and there's no cable down here to get caught on my chair, and we can barely even see the cable over there. On top of that, if I put the microphone away, which is what I usually do sometimes, there's still enough cable slack to where it doesn't really get all revealed. So in these examples, you can obviously tell that you don't need to cable manage stuff to everything. You can do it via like groups, or you can do it by itself. There's no one way to do it. So the best thing to do is just try things, try new things, try and see how you can make it look better. And it might be a bit tedious at first, but hopefully the end result will be worth it, and it could look something like this. To this, and oh my gosh, it looks a lot better now. You can see like now there is barely any cables. You can see that little one right there, and I'll show you a few tips on how to do something similar. But man, this looks so much better now. It's actually a lot more neat. There are a few cables there, and unfortunately there's not really much I could do. I can maybe hide it there, but yeah, I'll show you some of the tips that you can do to get yours a lot cleaner. Now, I spent around about an hour just neatly tying up cables, just had a YouTube video in the background and just did it very smoothly. There are a few tips. So number one, to remember, hiding is just the name of the game. So I've got a cable tie here that helps this little thin cable you can't see at the back. Just tie this down, and maybe I can bunch these up and put it behind here as well. A similar thing I did is underneath the table, so you can see this little Velcro strap here. Managed to just get two to be able to keep this cable nice and tight, and it didn't flop around everywhere. And also, this is a lot cleaner. And now if I put like my feet maybe just sitting here, then there are no cables that I can accidentally just hit. One of the most surprisingly challenging ones to do was the headphones cable, and that's because this is fairly long, so I came up with a trick. So I made it root into this little drawer here, then in the drawer there is the bunch of cables, and then I can just close it, and then this is the perfect length to reach for where my chair is, and if it's a bit too short I can always just pull on it and it gets less tension. And for the main bulk of the cables, all of it is just behind the desk, and I managed to get it very close to the table, and most of it was actually hidden right where the PC is. But for me, this is perfect because it is out of line of sight and I can't accidentally touch it in any way. So to summarize this video, there are some key points to take. Number one, always group up the cables with what they're supposed to be with. For example, all the monitor cables for the webcam, for the power, all the display output, all of those are bunched up there to make it a lot neater. And number two, best thing to do is just to keep them out of line of sight. So that could mean putting them in drawers or just hiding them in little holes and areas where there's just a lot of space. Because until we can start cutting cables to make them shorter, this is about as best as we can do. So that'll be it for this video, guys. Hopefully you liked it. If you like this video, make sure you like it. And if you really like this video, then subscribe. Hopefully we have a lot more videos like this coming in the future. And of course, if you'd like to support this channel and help it grow further, then give us some feedback on how we can improve our videos. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Okay, bye.